Greetings, everybody. This is Mike Baltzell,
And Kate Harden.
and we are with Columbia River Financial Group. And today what we wanted to do is share with you how to access and use the new BlackDiamond portfolio reporting software that we are rolling out shortly. And so we're excited about this new tool, and we think you guys will be excited to use it as well. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and show you how to access the tool. If you log into our website, columbiariverfg.com, and on the top right, select Client Tools. You simply click on Client Tools, and a little bit down on the right on the page, you'll see BlackDiamond Wealth Platform. You would simply log in there, so you would click that blue button, and it would bring you to your landing page, which looks like this.
So from here, you can see that we have a couple here, John and Mary Smith. And here on this main page, you would see all of your accounts listed here individually. So we can see that the Smiths have a joint account and 2 IRAs. And so in addition to describing the type of account here and who owns it, we also see here the portfolio names. So these 2 accounts are our moderate growth and income portfolio, and this account is our moderately conservative income portfolio. If you click on any of these account titles, all of the holdings will come up here in a quick snapshot. So you have the name of the asset, the symbol, the value, and the price. But this again is more of just a snapshot. We have on the next page to show you ways to get more detailed information. But that's just a quick snapshot on that main page. And then here at the bottom, again, in just a brief summary, you have your top holdings, top 10 holdings. So if you're ever curious where, again, and this is all portfolios in aggregate, where the bulk of your assets were in your holdings, you'd be able to come here and see that quick view. But now we'll get into the good stuff. So to get into the main tool, you'd come here to portfolio and then to dashboard. And this brings you into the page that has what we call tiles. So here are all of your tiles. But before we dig into those, there's kind of 2 features here at the top to show you. Here's the filter. Now again, when we come here, the default is all of those 3 accounts, or all of your accounts, would be aggregated together. But if you wanted to view one account at a time, which we will do shortly, you could just come here and click on whichever account you wanted to see on its own, and then apply filter down here, which we'll do in a few moments. And then here on the right, you're able to select the time frame that you want to look at. So here we're doing year to date, so from the beginning of the year until current, but you also could choose quarter to date, for example, if you just wanted to see how things had been performing quarterly, or whatever time frame seemed relevant. But we'll stick here with year to date. Lastly, here at the top, you see this exclamation point. These are portfolio alerts. And so if you ever see that highlighted, you can click there and see what information is there for you. And with that, Mike is going to start digging into the tiles.
So I'm going to show you the first 4 tiles, and then Kate will finish up with the remaining tiles. This first tile is our performance tile. Gives you kind of a summary of how things have been performing with all the accounts aggregated on this tile. But if you drill into the tile by clicking the word performance, it will actually bring you into that tile and give you a little bit more data. And this is set to just show you on a broad scale, how much do we have in equities? How much do we have in bonds or fixed income? How much do we have in cash? And over on the right-hand side, you can see a chart that illustrates the actual performance as a percentage of the portfolio over the time frame selected, again, year to date. We can also click on the market value, which shows you the person's contributions minus their withdrawals. So it shows you their net additions. It's always keeping a running tally of what your net additions are, and the performance value of the portfolio throughout the same time frame. Now, on this side, we're able to actually drill into these holdings in a very specific way. You can look at just, okay, how much do I have in stocks? You can look at, well, how much do I have in large cap stocks? And over here, you can see 183,565 in large cap stocks. You can drill it down even further. And when you look at large cap stocks, it shows you the difference between large cap growth and large cap value. And when you actually drill down even further, it gives you the actual holding that the person has in large cap growth. So you can see here, VUG is their large cap growth holding, and it gives the performance of that holding. And over here, you can see the return of that holding, and any holding you select will change that over. So you can see how the different portfolio holdings have performed. By the way, there are many places in this tool that you can actually export your data. And so when you click this export button, it will allow you to put it into an Excel spreadsheet or similar type of formatted spreadsheet so that you can play around with the data however you want on a very individual level. Getting back to the dashboard, you just select that word again to performance. And now we're going to move into the capital markets. And again, the capital markets tile, it basically has the indices that we felt people would be most interested in seeing. And so we've got the large cap stock index, or the S&P 500. We've got the developed market international index. We've got the international emerging market index. Russell 2000, which primarily shows us what the small and mid cap stocks are. The real estate investment trust index, the aggregate government bond index, the aggregate bond composite index, the precious metals index, and the commodities index. And so when you click into this, it gives you, probably not super helpful to see inception to date performance of these indices. As you can see, very enormous amounts of gains in these portfolio holdings because they've been held since 1970. But then you can look and see how they performed quarter to date, over the last 6 months, year to date, the last 12 months, last 3 years, 5 years, etc. The activity summary tile basically gives you a picture of your beginning value for the time period selected, your net additions, which again are your contributions minus your withdrawals, the actual gain or loss to the portfolio during that time frame, and your ending value. So when you select the activity summary, you'll see that picture very clearly. And then it also breaks it down by account. So you can see for Mary and John Smith, their joint account starting value, they did make contributions of $10,500 for this time period. They did make withdrawals of $25,807.10. And then the loss for the time period was $27,692 and an ending value. So it gives you kind of a nice segmented picture from account to account. And then the projected income tile is a nice tile to be able to see what you would expect in dividends on the portfolio, either by the next 12-month period or just the remainder of the year. If you wanted to say, well, how much in dividends can I expect in my portfolio for the rest of this year, you would select that. If you want to see on a 12-month basis, this is kind of a nice screen to be able to see. It does total them up over here on the right if you scroll to the right. And it does it by account. It also allows you to expand the holdings so that you can drill in and see how do things perform, or how much dividend I can expect on individual holdings. So that's kind of a nice thing. If you actually select that, it tells you when those are paid. If you select an individual holding, it tells you when those holdings would pay out. So sometimes you'll see things are paying out on a monthly basis. Some things are paying dividends on a quarterly basis. Sometimes it's semi-annually and sometimes it's annually. And those are the first 4 tiles. I'm going to pass it back over to Kate so she can take us home.
Thanks, Mike. So the last 3 tiles down here, the first 2 have to do with portfolio allocation. So if we click here into allocation, the first view that it gives us is how the makeup of the entire portfolio, or all 3 accounts, is broken down. So we can see here that the joint account is roughly 75% of the overall account value, that Mary's IRA is about 22%, and that John's IRA is at about 3% of the overall value. So from there, again, like Mike showed us, we can drill down a little bit. So if we click here to expand level, we're able to see each of the individual accounts on their own. But if we wanted to see the actual allocation, we can click here with account and superclass. That'll take us again with that account allocation, but then when we click on each individual account, we're able to see how it's allocated with stocks, fixed income, and cash. So if we look here at the joint account, again, we can see equities at about 59% or so, fixed income at about 31%, and cash at about 9%. And then from there, we are able to go further. So if you click here at equities, it shows you how your equities are broken down, large cap, international. And again, the same with fixed income. And we just have all bonds for him, and then cash. We can go even a little further on an individual account basis here on the allocation versus target. And allocation versus target is definitely a place where you're going to want to use the filter, because each one of your accounts has its own portfolio assignment, meaning its own allocation. So if we choose the joint account here, apply the filter, it shows us here that allocation versus target, that the target here for cash is about 2%, so we're a little overweight. The target here for bonds is 38%, so we're a little underweight, and that we're just about on target for equities. If we click in here, again, we're able to see, let's get that joint account up. Again, we're able to see what the target is. Now, when we say target, what we mean is if someone was thinking of a moderate portfolio, perfectly aligned, in kind of a market neutral sense, what would that look like? So you may have you heard us use the phrase 60-40 a lot. And that would mean we'd have 60% stocks and then 40% fixed income or bonds and cash. So our target allocation here is 60% stock, 38% fixed income, and 2% cash. What we can see here for the Smith's account, they're pretty close here with stock, about 59%, but the bonds and cash is a little off. Well, if you recall, one of our market updates in March with volatile markets was to move some of your bonds to cash to further stabilize your portfolios. So when you see a difference here between the target and the actual, that's either going to be because of market movements. So perhaps your stocks have increased value, and so you have 63% stock instead of 60, or when we've made specific portfolio choices, in this case, to have more cash than we typically might. So here at the bottom, you're able to see kind of in numbers, those comparisons. So the allocation versus the target, and then your difference here. So just a little bit under here and here, and then overweight here with cash. And then again, here it has that in dollars and cents. One other way to think about target is something that we call drift. And so here with these two portfolios, again, we have sort of that target portfolio, 60%, 38%, 2%. But here, you're really able to see not only market movements, so you can see here as that value of equities kind of changes when we have volatility or when we're doing rebalances. And so it's not a static number. So you're able to see that movement a little bit. And then also you're able to see, like here, this big market or this portfolio move that we made here, where we went from 2% cash to, at that point, it was about 9% cash, or 13% cash rather. So it's rare that these are ever going to look exactly the same because of market movements and portfolio choices, but it gives you an idea of kind of where we are relative not only to the market, but also the moves in our portfolio. And then again, similar information in this chart. Here's the actual. So you've got, you know, just a little bit overweight here, and then an overweight here and a little underweight fixed income for our long-term target. And again, you could filter down account by account. And you would need to in this tile, filter down by account. So lastly, I'm going to bring all 3 accounts up again by unclicking that, is our transaction tile. And we actually think that this could be very useful and maybe a little more user-friendly. But if we click in here to transactions, and again, these are all 3 accounts together, but we have all different types of transactions that have happened in the accounts. Sales, buys, dividend reinvestment, distributions, etc. But this would be a lot of information for all 3 accounts together. So again, if we use our filter and go here into the joint account, filters it down even further, and you are able to sort all of these columns. You could sort by date if you wanted to go, you know, from January, or if you wanted to kind of work backwards from June. So you can sort all of these categories. But then if we come over to this filter, we get to choose which transactions. So if we were looking for something specific, it'd be very easy to drill down at this point. So let's just say that Smiths wanted to know what's the money that we have added and what's the money that we have taken out year to date. Okay, so if we apply that there, we're able to see that they've had some cash withdrawals and then just recently made a deposit. So you could do that for whatever sort of information you were looking for, whatever would make sense to you. So this would be another place to show the information that Mike was showing. So income, what are the dividends and dividend reinvestments that have happened in the account? So we hope that this was helpful. This is a tool that we'd like you to use however you see fit or in whatever way it interests you. But we're excited about how interactive it is and very up to the date. So moving forward, certainly we'll be talking about performance and portfolio metrics when we meet. But in using BlackDiamond on your own, you're able to get all of this information in real time whenever you access it.
And I would just add too that our portfolio reports are also changing because of this new software, and we'll have the ability to run portfolio reports on a quarterly basis, or as you know, as you want one, and we can upload those to your e-money vault so that it's electronically transferred to you. And we expect that those are going to be much more user-friendly than what we've had in the past as well. But we are here. If you run into any troubles as you use this, let us know. We're always available. We suspect some of our clients will use it all the time. We suspect some of our clients will never go into it. But just know it's a tool to be used how you want to use it. And we think that you'll like it. So thank you for joining us today, and stay safe.
Bye-bye.